Oh man, Blake, you are in so much trouble. So much trouble. And I'm very confident in the fact that Blake is the bully. Blake was absolutely using Taylor, and I think she's done this.
What unfolds when music icon Taylor Swift and rising filmmaker Justin Baldoni unite to push back against Blake Lively's carefully crafted image? Off-camera alliances, strained relationships, and a legal battle that flips the story on its head begin to unravel. Is Blake truly the wronged party as she portrays, or was she directing the drama from the very beginning? The reality behind the headlines is far murkier than anyone imagined.
Lively was accused of threatening Taylor Swift to publicly support her or else release 10 years worth of text messages, amongst other things. A source came to Justin Baldoni's lawyer, and Justin Baldoni's lawyer entered this into the motion, which of course did not go well with the judge because of some procedural issues. So the judge basically says, I got to reject it from the docket, and it's going to have to be re-entered in some sort of different way because Taylor Swift's lawyer is involved in a lawsuit, a subpoena by Justin Baldoni's attorney in the District of Columbia. So there's some issues above my pay grade with why the judge rejected this right now, but the truth is the truth. And Baldoni wanted to get a subpoena of Taylor Swift so that he could look at this one email that proves that she was being extorted by Blake Lively. Well, who's the one who leaked this story? Candace Owens has it right here.
So who was the person? Who was Unexpected Dragon? Who was the person that very clearly after this Super Bowl thing got upset? Drum roll, please, you guys. Allegedly, Taylor Swift's father.
Of course.
Scott Swift. I love this so much. You guys, this means the mother of dragons, Khaleesi, forgot that there could be a father to the dragon, a father to...
By the way, fathers know best, okay? I'm a dad. I've been one for a whole year now. And let me tell you something. Somebody gets in the way of you, your family, your loved one, you're going to do what you need to do. And Taylor Swift may have taken the high road, but Daddy Swift, not so much. The original Swiftie says, I don't think so. And let me tell you something. This father Swift clearly thinks the world of Taylor. I think he moved his whole business from Pennsylvania to Nashville, right? Just so that they could see the All-American Rejects. No, just so maybe Taylor Swift will be opening for All-American Rejects for all we know. But either way, this is no surprise to me. And there were rumblings that this might be the case. But good for him. Go to bat for your family.
Her dragon, Taylor Swift. This savage man, Scott Swift, is going to turn me into a Swiftie. When I say a Swiftie, I don't mean a Taylor Swift fan, okay? I mean a Scott Swift fan. Because this was a savage...
Blake Lively, actress or unseen director of intimacy. On the set of It Ends With Us, Blake wasn't just delivering performances, she was shaping the tone, texture, and choreography of the most delicate scenes behind the lens. Although the production formally employed an intimacy coordinator, multiple sources say Blake's real influence extended well beyond standard collaboration. She didn't just consult, she took command, managing everything from body positioning to camera angles with an unusually firm hand. To those on set, it became clear this wasn't just about comfort, it was about vision. Blake oversaw scene choreography with surgical precision, crafting every interaction to balance emotional exposure with image protection. Unlike most leads, she routinely overrode production decisions. Rather than stepping back when filming began, Blake reportedly made direct calls on framing, lighting, and spatial dynamics. Particularly where co-star Justin Baldoni was involved. She dictated how the scenes should unfold. She requested diffuse lighting to soften her features, adjusted Baldoni's movements to enhance framing, and reworked physical cues to reflect her version of tenderness over titillation. These weren't minor preferences, they were mandates. Crew members recall how filming would halt as Blake fine-tuned each moment in real time. One source pointed to a notable kissing scene where she interrupted takes multiple times to tweak blocking, ensuring that shadows didn't fall across her face and that the pacing matched her vision of sincerity. It wasn't just artistic, it was deeply intentional. Her edits aimed to protect not just her character's integrity, but her own sense of control. Initially, her role behind the scenes was praised. Some hailed her as a pioneer and actress, refusing to be passive in intimate storytelling. Her assertiveness was seen as revolutionary, an emblem of empowerment on a traditionally male-led set. But the tone has shifted, now that Blake has alleged Justin crossed boundaries during these very scenes. the industry is left grappling with a conflicting narrative. How could someone who so thoroughly orchestrated these interactions later portray herself as compromised by them? This emerging contradiction has become a key tension in the growing legal and public scrutiny. Was her behind-the-scenes control a safeguard against vulnerability, or does it complicate the claims she now makes? In an industry still learning how to navigate consent and control, Blake's dual roles as performer and behind-the-scenes architect raise difficult questions. Is creative dominance incompatible with being harmed in the process? Or does power, when misapplied or misunderstood, come with its own dangers? What once looked like autonomy may now be re-examined under the harshest light. Whether her authority becomes her defense or her undoing is a question Hollywood isn't ready to answer just yet.
Lively's attorneys were quick to declare this a win for her side now that Justin has withdrawn the subpoena sent to Taylor and her legal team after the firm objected to the amount of the unwarranted fishing expedition, etc., etc. Lively's team was quick to reply with a statement and said that we are pleased that Justin and the Wayfair parties have withdrawn their harassing subpoenas to Taylor Swift and her law firm. We supported the efforts of Taylor's team to quash these inappropriate subpoenas directed to her counsel, and we will continue to stand up for any third party who is unjustly harassed or threatened in the process. Oh my God, what a big laugh. Now, the reality is why they did this, the reality of why they squashed this, they got what they wanted. Now, others have started reporting on what we alluded to when this initially broke, because I told you guys, look, I still firmly believe it, and I'm hearing it more and more through sources and people I'm talking to. There's only 3 people that this source who told Justin's team that they were extorted could be Tree, Taylor's manager publicist, or her dad, Scott, or her mom. Now, I'm leaning more towards her parents more and more. Candace Owens just went the other day and heavily implied it as well. I think we're on the same wavelength. Now, again, they haven't themselves confirmed it yet, and they may not want to, but it makes total sense, guys. You got to think about this. As Taylor Swift is now being extorted and threatened with all these text messages to come out, that doesn't help her brand at all. And she's a very powerful business with a huge fan base. I don't think they react well to bullies. I really don't. And I think this was too much for the entire empire to bear. And so it makes total sense that her parents or her manager were the ones who went out and said enough is enough. And now that they've squashed it, now, like, really think about it. Now that it's squashed, which all these outlets are trying to say, oh, no longer speeding, no longer. Why do you think that really was? Now, this is my opinion, my conspiracy theory. It's exactly what it says right here. They got what they wanted. Now, if they have proof that Taylor's lawyer was threatened, if that's all real, that will come out in the process. And they clearly wanted it out there to send a warning shot to Blake and Ryan, who think they're on the road, winning, and they're winning, but no. If they can prove that Taylor Swift's team and lawyers, in fact, confirmed or gave them the evidence to show that they were asked not to do this, oh man, Blake, you are in so much trouble.
So much trouble. The complicated fallout between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. Justin Baldoni has long built his career around principles of respect, consent, and collaboration. As both an actor and director, he's become a trusted name in conversations about raising ethical standards in Hollywood, known for fostering safe sets and encouraging open communication among cast and crew. Justin's reputation has been one of intentional integrity. So, when Blake Lively's lawsuit accused him of crossing personal boundaries during filming, the backlash wasn't just surprising. It stood in stark contrast to the image many in the industry have of him. But as with most Hollywood stories, things aren't so black and white. According to multiple on-set sources, the dynamic between Justin and Blake may have been far more nuanced than the lawsuit suggests. In fact, insiders say that during the very scenes at the heart of the controversy, it was Blake who often directed Justin, especially when it came to intimate choreography. She reportedly gave specific instructions on body positioning, line pacing, and emotional tone. One witness described a moment during an emotional scene when Blake paused production to advise Justin on how to adjust his performance, focusing more on emotional connection than physicality. These accounts suggest a level of collaboration and trust that doesn't easily align with the narrative of unwanted overstepping. Justin, for his part, was described as attentive and cautious. Witnesses recall him frequently checking in with Blake before sensitive scenes, asking questions like, "Does this still feel right to you?" or "Are you okay with this adjustment?" His team insists he sought her approval at every step. So, how did things go so wrong? The contradictions are difficult to ignore. Justin's legal team has hinted that they possess evidence that could dramatically reshape public perception. From alleged behind-the-scenes footage to private text exchanges, the material reportedly shows Blake not only signing off on, but actively shaping the very scenes she's now calling into question. And just when the situation couldn't get any more entangled in steps, Taylor Swift, known for her close friendship with Blake Tailer's involvement, has added an entirely new layer to the drama, one that's deeply personal. Her decision to insert herself into the unfolding legal battle has surprised even insiders and may indicate that the divide between Blake's public claims and private actions is wider than anyone expected. As the lawsuit develops, so does the mystery. What really happened between Blake and Justin? And why is Taylor Swift now playing a key role in the unraveling of a once private fallout? The answers, it seems, are still waiting backstage.
Run-ins with paparazzi where he's kind of manhandled them, just politely push them, throw some, glitter bombs in their face or whatever, Hey, look, you got to do what you got to do to protect your family, and you love to see it. Because here, this goes to show Taylor Swift, right? Think what you want about her. I think very highly of her. She's built a billion-dollar business and an empire as one of the biggest, if not the biggest, pop stars of all time. And she writes all of her own music, so, as far as I have to say, beat it, right? We're all Taylor Swift fans here, whether you like it or not. And by the way, because I always rant on billionaires, but there are some billionaires who, by the way, I feel like should be taxed at a much higher level because of their wealth, that got it in more ethical ways than others. And yeah, you could hate on her for all the jet fuel she burns traveling around the world. I get that. But none of that matters to this story. The point of the story is, listen, this is why Taylor Swift felt so abandoned and betrayed by Blake Lively, because she has to keep such a tight-knit circle because everyone's out to get her. She's like if you were the All-American Rejects times a billion, okay? Sure, they can sell out a backyard in, Des Moines, but Taylor Swift sells out stadiums, right? She is huge. She can't fly, Spirit Airlines. She has to fly private. She can't go places because she gets swarmed. She wants to give one person a photo, then there's a line around the block. It's insatiable how famous she is. By the way, for Donald Trump to say she's no longer hot because he said so is laughable. She could sell out any place in the world, right? She could be like, all right, I'm doing a concert at the Sphinx, and then a bunch of, Egyptians are going to roll up there on their, look, hey, how are... So anyhow, the point is, King Tut's going to come out of his grave. Hey, I'd love to see you, big fan. So the point is that she's huge, and for Blake Lively to cross her, this at least is reinforcement that her father and her family have her back. Of course, her boy toy, as it were, Travis Kelce, unfollows Ryan Reynolds. And this is a big, big story.
And by the way, I want to be clear. The reason why I respect this move is because it's his daughter, okay? I'm always going to respect a parent that is willing to burn it all down to the ground to protect their kid, okay? There's an element of that as a parent, real gonna recognize real. And Scott Swift played me. He saw me. Scott Swift saw me. Fisherman always sees another fisherman. He saw me salivating for these text messages. He saw me being like, we're going to see the real Taylor Swift. And he was like, no, Candace, the world will never meet the real Taylor Swift. But what clearly set him off, given the timeline of you see a phone call allegedly coming in on February 14th, it would have been this extortion attempt. And I wouldn't try it. I keep trying to tell people, Taylor Swift's parents are not from nowhere. They're not nobodies. Scott Swift, what's his background? Stockbroker, okay? Her family was so financially successful that when their little girl said, I want to be a singer, they up and moved her to Nashville.
I think Candace and I have, very similar ways of thinking. I could imagine Candace growing up played with a lot of dolls by herself. She just, and I don't mean this as an insult, but she's kind of got that creativity where she puts together all of the pieces in her head. It's not always right, but it's not always wrong either. And this is a big bombshell moment. So go check out that full conversation that Candace, I mean, hey, look, say what you want. You don't have to agree with her politics. I certainly don't agree with probably, I don't know, 80% of her politics, but I got to recognize game where I see it, right? She's able to talk through the camera to her audience as if someone else is there, and they're not, and good for her. So she, came back from maternity leave to talk about the parental urges to protect.
Blake Lively's lawsuit raises questions about consent, control, and Taylor Swift's unexpected role. Blake Lively's lawsuit against Justin Baldoni centers on some of the most intimate moments shared between the actors, moments she now claims spiraled out of her control. At the heart of her allegations are improvised actions she says were never consented to. portraying Justin as someone who repeatedly overstepped boundaries. One of the most serious claims accuses him of adding unscripted, physical touches during filming, leaving her feeling disrespected and blindsided. Another key allegation points to what she describes as excessive kissing, unplanned, prolonged moments that, according to Blake, disrupted her comfort and confidence on set. Taken at face value, the accusations are troubling. But things quickly become more complex. According to multiple witnesses, Blake was heavily involved in choreographing these very scenes. Crew members say she exerted an unusually high level of creative control, reviewing camera angles, shaping the pacing, and giving direct instructions to Justin about how each interaction should unfold. Her involvement reportedly went far beyond what's typical for an actor, with some describing her as like a second director. If that's true, it raises a pivotal question. How could these same scenes, ones Blake appeared to guide, later become the foundation of a misconduct claim? Adding to the confusion are past public statements made by Blake herself. In a post-production interview, she praised the collaborative environment on set, calling it safe and artistically supportive, even thanking Justin for honoring her creative instincts. That comment, made shortly after filming wrapped, stands in stark contrast to the narrative outlined in her legal complaint. Further complicating matters is sworn testimony from a crew member present during reshoots, who described Justin repeatedly checking in with Blake during scenes, asking if changes were okay, seeking feedback, and making adjustments accordingly. The crew member recalled Blake giving the green light each time, even encouraging Justin to be more expressive in certain takes. Yet, her lawsuit now paints these same interactions as coercive and outside the bounds of consent. These contradictions are fueling one of the lawsuit's most hotly debated issues, the question of intent and control. Was this truly about crossing boundaries or about something else? While no court ruling has been made, industry insiders are beginning to speculate. Some whisper that the lawsuit may have more to do with off-screen power dynamics or career positioning than a clear-cut grievance. In Hollywood, legal action often doubles as leverage, and the inconsistencies between Blake's private behavior and public statements are raising eyebrows. And at the center of this escalating drama is one surprising name: Taylor Swift. Once Blake's closest ally, Taylor's unexpected involvement and rumored contribution of key evidence could shift the entire trajectory of the case.